either. Okay. All right, so basically all we're gonna do is we are gonna go through the basics of Seesaw, how to set it up, how different things within Seesaw, and then in the next PD that you sign up for, we'll talk more about like how to make activities a little bit more and how you might want to use it, go a little more advanced. So did everyone get a sign up to make your account? Because Jacob sent everyone. Okay, great. So now that we're on Seesaw Schools, we're all kind of clumped together, and then anytime you submit anything to the schools, like we have access to it as well, which is really nice. So we oh, I got a screen. We put this together like a presentation, and we'll just go back and forth between the presentation and then into our Seesaw and just kind of show you how to do certain things. And if anyone has any questions at any time, just stop us and we can discuss. If you have thoughts, shout them out and we'll either talk about it then or come back to it. We just want to make this as easy as possible. So we're going to start with what is Seesaw. It's an online portfolio. It's a communication tool to connect families and school. You can use it as assessment and data collection. And it's a way of giving constructive feedback for students and for families. So families can see exactly what their student is turning into you and doing, and if they're getting things or if they're not. So you should have already gotten this. Activate your account. Make sure that it's your school email, create a password, all that good stuff. But everyone sounds like they've already been able to do that. And I don't think anyone on here had an account. So if you already had one, all you had to do was confirm it into the Seesaw schools. There's two different Seesaw apps to access Seesaw, I guess I should say. So there's Seesaw Class and then there's Seesaw Family. So Seesaw Class is what you would put on like your iPads at school, put on your phone. So the Seesaw Class, for the students to access it, there's a little QR code that's specific to your class. Where they complete the activities, that's where you assign your activities. They can use like a camera or a video to record or take pictures of things that they made. So all the student work is done in Seesaw Class. Where Seesaw Family is that's what parents download. So parents log in with their email. That's how you send and receive messages in between, and you can send links, and that's not where student work is done. So it'll look like this. You each will have a specific classroom code, so this is the QR code. This is what your student would scan to access your class. And then if we're at home, there's a specific QR code that goes to just that student's journal. So that's a different paper. I could show you where that is as well. So since we started in March, we just sent home the code through Seesaw, so they have that. So two different kind of things. So if you're, a lot of people have asked like, okay, so what do I download? So you would download Seesaw Class onto your phone, iPads, because then you just sign in as a student. And I don't know. And then we were talking in the last group about going back in between, like if your child does have a Seesaw, you can go in between like your parent account and then your class account as well.
If you have your parent account using the same email,
Yes.
then you can. So like my daughter and son have used Seesaw in previous years. And so when the teacher sent me the code to log in as with the family app, I just use my same school email, and then I can toggle between the two accounts.
Mm-hmm. Any questions so far?
Nope, good.
Good. Okay.
For me.
So the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to go through all of the Seesaw tools, how to manage your settings, how to add students, how to add families, the communication tool with families, how you're going to view your students' work, how to find and assign activities, how students add to their journals, and then how to approve student work and give comments and feedback. So I'm going to show you in our presentation, and then I'll show you in Seesaw. So we'll kind of go back and forth. So to control any of the settings in Seesaw, you're going to use the wrench in the corner. So that controls your class. If you have any additional teachers, so like Kelly, you were asking, like you'll have your own class, or we can put you in as like a co-teacher on other people's classes.
Did you send that link out that I shared with you last week?
Oh yes, I did. Yeah.
There was a link I found that kind of spelled out pros and cons for either having co-teachers for like special staff or having multiple classrooms. And so we'll share that link out again, and it's something that you kind of have to just look through and decide which way you and your team want to manage your students.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong way, just personal preference.
Mm-hmm. But just so you know, you have your own, and you will have access to your own class. So,
Okay.
all right. So I will go into. So here's my demo class, and here's that wrench in the corner. So that kind of gets you to control everything within Seesaw. So again, your class name. So right here is manage teachers. So far right now, I'm the only one on here, and then this is where I would enter to invite a teacher. So we talked a lot in the one group about like, oh, like Liz, I know you shared for different, like math, and I mean, obviously now with everything going on, who knows if that's going to happen, right. But just for future reference.
And maybe that's where you could like invite me or resource room.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's going to need to be more of like a conversation and how you want to use it. If you're in class, if you're at home, all those different options. Yeah, because we'll get more into it, but like sharing activities and assigning. But I think it's important that if you're seeing students in my class, that you can view their work as well. Mm-hmm. So, and I think just for our age of kiddos, it's easier to kind of have everything in one place, but that's just my opinion. But this is how you would control like the student settings. You want them on shared devices. This one is important, where it says new items require approval. You want that turned on, so you have to approve their work before it goes into their journal in case you need to send it back. Right now, my demo class has students can see each other's work. I think in my class I had that turned off, but that way they're just going on doing their work. They're not looking at other people's. Maybe in like first or second grade, you could start doing that stuff and they can make feedback on each other's work. But since I'm in kindergarten, I have that off. This is where you would control anything with the family. And then there's folders where you can put your activities in by different subject. So this is where you would manage that. And then skills and blog, we'll
talk about that in the advanced
yes.
session.
Yeah, we were just discussing that. So, but I just wanted to show that this is where you kind of control everything with that wrench. So like I have mine is purple, and you know, you can change some of that stuff. All right, adding students to your class would be back into that wrench, but because now we have Seesaw schools, students should be added already for you. You'll just have to go in and find them. We haven't really messed around with that too much. I don't know if you'll have to add them by their name or by their like student ID, just kind of like some of the other programs that we use as a district. So I guess we can talk, we're gonna have to go through that a little bit more closer to when we're ready for school. So like kindergarten, we don't have student names yet, so we don't even know. And
But any student that has used Seesaw already from the teachers who have had accounts and used it, then their work and things are already in there. But everyone else will be uploaded.
yeah, so we'll have to talk, we need to talk to Jacob more about that because we just got Seesaw schools last week. But everyone that I have seen so far is on there.
Do you guys know how MAPS will do that? Will I have everyone's?
Yeah, so you,
Teachers will have to add you as a shared teacher.
yeah. And yeah, because you're not going to want to have to add like 150 students on your own. So maybe there's a way that Jacob can help do that. Yeah, you're not going to want to do that. It'd be a little easier like Kelly if you only have a certain amount, but I think he can go in and assign them to, or I guess any of us because we're on the admin part of it. But we'll check that out for you, Lisa. We'll figure that out. But I guess I should just at least show. So again, if you go to that wrench, there's that students button, or it would, this is a quicker way of getting to it as well. And then you just add your students and then see right here, now it says enter a student ID. And then you would look up that student and then add them to your class. But the part that you can control now is inviting parents and families to your class. So again, you'll go to that wrench. Click add families. Enter their email, or you can print the form that has that QR code like the class poster does. And Katie and I both did it this way at the beginning of the year because that's a lot easier than having to enter everyone's emails.
And most families connected to the account through that. And so then you were only left with maybe one or two families that you needed to enter email or mobile number to because they just still weren't connecting. But sending that paper home is really the easiest way to get families connected.
So again, you can go to add families down here, or it's always in that wrench. In the settings. So this is where you would enter the email or the mobile number, or you can print their invite. So that's right up here, print invites. I had some family members that I entered their email here and they still weren't adding. So then I would, I got the link from up here and then sent it in a separate email. But the district is expecting parents and us to communicate through Seesaw as a major way of communicating. So hopefully everyone, gets on board and is at least connected to one of their teachers through Seesaw to get all of those announcements.
And I know maybe right here we could talk about, I know other people in other sessions have asked about Blooms. Emily and I did not use Blooms, so we're not familiar with it, but from what people have shared, it was another communication tool that had some additional features that Seesaw currently doesn't have, like signups and calendars and things. But what we were sharing with the other groups was that you could still use that along with Seesaw. Like for example, Emily and I also have a class Facebook page, and so we put announcements and whatnot out on our Facebook page. As in addition to an email and to Seesaw messages, you can still do the same thing with your Blooms, post it there in addition to Seesaw.
So we'll talk about the communication between parents now too, since we already added them. So in your class here, there's the button that says inbox. And this is where you could send student announcements, or you can use the family announcements. That would be here. Then you just, this is just my demo class, but then you'll just type them here. So if I go back to my class, in my inbox, these have been all of the, classroom announcements I've sent out. You can go in and it says seen by, and it shows each parent that has seen my message. So like I added Kristen to my class. You can see she went back and looked at the different messages that I sent out. Then you can see your individual messages between parents. So like if I was going to type her, you would just type right here. This plus sign lets you add photos or videos or, any links, I guess. That's what I mostly use. I would take a picture of a student, just like a text, and just send it through Seesaw so they can see them throughout the day. And again, you can see when she has seen it, which is really nice because I had some parents that were close by during the day, and I would send them a message like, hey, Colton forgot his shoes. Can you bring them up to school? And then you could see oh, she saw it. Yep, I'll bring them up there. So it's a lot quicker than trying to write an email. I had another student who I needed to talk to mom a lot. So we had a lot of conversations back and forth. You always get an email from Seesaw saying oh, so-and-so sent you a message. So if you saw your email, but you didn't see your Seesaw, you always know when you get a message. That's why we both have it on our phone. It's a lot easier to try to get to communicate quicker because it's right there. And the same thing with parents. I know Blooms is on your phone too, so it's right there for them.
Get a notification and
yeah. I don't know. I use that piece a lot. Someone asked oh, do you share your newsletter, through Seesaw? And you can as well. You would just upload it as a PDF, just like you would on an email. Someone also asked, can you write a lot? A lot of words or characters, whatever. You can make them. I don't know if there's a specific limit.
I've not hit a limit, and I, especially during the distance learning, I would basically type my email for the week out to parents, which was quite lengthy at times, and I just copied and pasted that right into the Seesaw family message. So yeah, I haven't hit a limit yet, so I'm not sure that they have one.
All right. Oops. Sorry. All right, so super easy to add families. You can invite, that's why it's nice to have that QR code, is that mom and dad can access their journal, which I had a lot of moms and dads, which was nice. So then you know, at least one of the messages got to one of the parents. All right, so when students put their work into their journal, there's a few different ways that you can view it. You can view through the journal tab where it will show all the students' posts. You can view from a little calendar that will show you on this day, this is all the work that was turned in, or you can view it by each individual student. Go ahead and show me go. So right from your screen, you can see this is just my demo class, so I only have a few things in here, but you can see all of the work. So that's in this view. This is the calendar. So you can see, you know, 2 items were turned in on the 26th, and then here's the 2 items. Or you could go in and click on the specific student's journal, which I just have my one, and oh, hold on, you gotta go back to this list. Then go to the student, and then it shows you all of the work that they've turned in. So 3 different ways. So I know some people were asking like, oh, what did you find was the easiest? It's really your organization and how, you know, you want to control that. If they're at home learning, obviously they're turning in a lot more things. If you're using it more in your classroom, they're doing a lot more. If it's just you're using it to do an activity a week, you know, it's not as much to keep track of, but totally up to you. But again, that's the whole class, the calendar view, and then just by individual students are the way to view their work. All right. Then when students want to add their work, there's that green plus that says add, and that's how they would add like a picture or a video of something. You know, even in planning time, they want to enter, you know, a tower they built, or Lisa, like in art, they want to take a picture of, you know, how they started their work and maybe how they finished it and whatnot. You would use that plus, bless you. Then this button right here, add response, that's how they add the activity that you assign into their journal. So I'll go in and show that. Confusing. So here's that add, and then you post your work, and then this would be like your photo or your video. If you wanted to make like a drawing, you would put it in here. And I can't access the photo because I'm on my computer, but that's how we would do it through your phone, or you know, through your iPad.
You can do it on the computer too. It
Yeah.
just won't let us because we're doing a Zoom right now.
Yes. Then for a student to add to their journal, here's that add response. So I went to activities. These are all the activities they have assigned to them, and then they would just add their response, find their name, and then complete the activity. And then click that green check and it goes to it, but I already did this one, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, so those 2 ways, so add to their journal or add response, because they're responding to the activity that you assigned for them. Does that make sense to everyone? Pretty easy. All right. So the next thing is finding those the activities that you would like to assign to your student. there are so many activities in the community bio. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds. Something, whatever you're looking for, someone already took the time to make an activity. So obviously you're more than welcome to make your own activities all you want. I personally have made like one because it was practicing, but throughout anything I needed to assign, I just looked it up and found something, because you can always edit an activity to better fit what you want and what you want for your students. So the nice thing now about Seesaw Schools is, like, if Mandy finds something that she thought was really helpful to her students, she can just save it into our school community, and then like Katie and I could go in and take it and assign it to our class. So once you find an activity that you like, you push the little heart and it saves it into your library, and then you go in and assign from there. So I'll go into that. So I clicked that activity tab. So next to journal, you go down here, there's browse activities. And you can see here, this is the community. This is our school and district. So I've shared a few things to there. And then this is my personal library. Now, I don't have anything saved like in a collection because I've just been collecting and I really need to go through and organize. But I've seen some teachers that have like collections if it's by, you know, numbers or, you know, however, again, you want to organize your Seesaw, it's yours. So however you want to do that, it's how you want to do that. But like you can see here, like I've saved this activity from another teacher, and you just click that assign, and then you can go right from there and assign it to whatever students that you want. Or now we have the feature where you can schedule an activity. So if it's Sunday night and you want to schedule your activities to go out throughout the week or to go out on Monday, that's how I did it. I just scheduled them Sunday night to go out Monday morning. You would just schedule them on that specific date and time that you want, and then the green check. But let me go back to the community. So here's where you would type in like what you're looking for by subject. Obviously mine is more geared towards kindergarten because that's what I look up. Once you find something that you like, we'll just click on this one. Here's where you would click the heart. I heart it, then it goes right to my library. If I want to get rid of it, those three dots, I can remove from my library. I can add to the certain collection. I can copy and edit, which that's what I was saying earlier is, you know, if you want to change the directions a little bit, if you want to enter a video of you giving the directions, you would copy and edit just like you would on anything in Google. And then here's where you would share to our school. So it says share to school and district libraries, and you would just share it and then it would be there. But again, I don't know, there's just so many different activities and, you know.
There
well,
really is. You could do all just finding activities and assigning them and never have to create something from scratch. If you are the type of person that likes to do that, then, you know, that's another great way to create your own. But most everything you could find right in the library or in the community.
And also I was going to touch on like this same person, I've gotten her activities from on the Facebook page that I'm in that we were going to talk about too. But once you kind of find someone that's published a lot of work, they have to like submit it to the community, and then Seesaw will, you know, take it to the community or not. But then you can always find that author again and search.
You can just click on her name too.
Oh yeah, you can do it that way too. And then it would lead to,
Her image. There's a way to just do it easier than searching it.
well, you could just always go back and look up that certain person. So I found one person that I liked a lot of her things because they were just, easy for the kids to use. And then I would just always go back to her specific page and find like the other activities that she made, to keep using the activities from there. But again, I don't know, I like that they have like trending searches and kind of based on, you can tell like, when it's like Apple time, it's like a lot of those things here. I get emails with like the top activities for the week that come from Seesaw. So again, if you just go through the library, you can go through and heart things, and then you can always again edit them to fit your needs. Like Lisa, it looks like this is like a PE one with that Bitmoji classroom like you were making. So yeah, lots and lots of activities. Oh yeah, so see, you can see like these are the different authors that are highly made for kindergarten. I don't know, so many different things. So if you find anything that you really like and, share it to the school page. That way we all have access to it now. Because then you can always go in and it looks like someone shared these. So then I can go and heart them and then they'll go to my collection. I did not share those, I don't think. I know I did this one. And then again, you can organize your library there and then assign it from right here from your library. Or you can add and assign activity and it gets you right back to the same thing. Go back to my class. All right, then the one thing I talked about in that wrench was you being able to approve your student work. I think it's important that you approve it before it goes into their journal, so you have time to look at it. You can approve it, you can send it back, or you can delete the work as well. So this big red bar will come up at the bottom and you click review. You get a notification on your app, you get an email, you review it, you can respond to the post, and then you can approve it or again, send it back. So I assigned myself and did an activity earlier. So here's that big red bar. All you have to do is review it. Then if you have multiple things to review, they'll all just scroll on the screen and show you here. So we talked in the last group, there's different ways of giving feedback. You can approve it right away, or you can like and give a comment, then approve it. Some people asked about the comments. You can type them, or you can click that microphone and you can give your comment verbally. Another teacher's daughter was using this and she said she really loved like hearing her teacher's voice give the comment. I did that a few times. Is this the one you clicked? Okay.
Yeah, that little speech bubble with the T in it, that is for teacher comments. So the parents and the student will not be able to see that. So if you wanted to make more specific notes about the student's skill or lack thereof, then you could put a little note there so that, especially if you're having a co-teacher too, then you can have that communication about the activity and the student's skill right there. So you remember what you were thinking and how they were doing. So that's kind of a nice feature with the Seesaw schools.
Mm-hmm. then the nice thing as well is right here, it'll show like seen by, and then like if this was Katie's kid, it would say Katie Daniels. So you can see when the parent has seen their work as well. So yeah, I would do it different ways depending on what I was doing throughout the day. I would approve something, then go back and give it a like or a comment. Some things I would just like, some things I would comment. I just think it depends on your student. Some things I had to send back because now Seesaw has the ability to have activities with like multiple pages. And if they only did like one page, I would send it back and be like, oh, go back and check the next few pages. Like you missed some of the problems you could send back. You know, if this is CBC word, so like if they had a few missed like in the wrong spot, I would send back and give a comment to say like, oh, go back and look, that says sub, or, you know, however you want to comment, but I'll just approve it. So then you can go in now and see. Why didn't that go in there? Now I can see that I approved it, and then it should be back in my journal if the internet wants to work.
It sometimes takes a minute or two.
There it goes. Now I can see that CBC activities should pull up. There it is. So now it's in there. Yeah. So the best things that Katie and I have found are just any type of videos. This links to the specific Seesaw website, and they have a lot of great videos that takes you step by step in anything that you want to learn how to do.
Seesaw does put out a lot of their own PD with just little quick videos and how-to guides. So that's always a great resource.
Mm-hmm. We are both in the there's different Facebook groups, but we're both in the, you just type in like Seesaw teachers and then the grade that you teach, because then people will send, you know, share different activities for your specific grade, or I guess, you know, art, gym, music, all those things. So I would highly suggest to go on there, because I can go on anytime, you know, and look, and I'm like, oh, I really like that activity. And I just save the activity, and then I always come back to it. Or people post videos that they made or that they found helpful on how to make any type of activity, or like we put here, you know, how to get families started. So that will, you know, if you just need to go back and be like, oh yeah, those are the steps. Everything in Seesaw is pretty easy to use once you're in it and you're messing around with it. So I know we kind of went fast through everything, but that's why I'm going to send the presentation out, and that's why we kind of wanted to give those easy steps to follow. If you go into anything on YouTube, I shared this Chris, I'm not sure how to say his last name, but he has a ton of videos, and he's also a presenter on Seesaw. And he just takes you step by step in how to make all these different kinds of activities that you would want to make. And then this last link is when you type your instructions. I'll kind of show an activity first, because that'll make more sense. There's different icons that you use, and there's different shortcuts to how to get those icons. I don't know what's going on with the internet right now.
These icons make it a little easier for the students to quickly glance at the directions and, you know, maybe not read through all of the words that are there, but they learn those little shortcuts. And, oh, I'm going to take a picture, then I'm going to click on the hand to move these pieces around. That's not the code.
No. Oh, but that's from Carrie. I didn't realize that. Okay, sorry. So this is just like a short direction. So it says, listen to the ... colon on, you know, on each page. So the, Katie's talking about these little icons. So instead of saying like, oh, click the green check, it shows the kids the green check so they know exactly what buttons to push. And once we found that once they start using it more, they'll know which icons to push. But if you want to play around with making any activities, these are the little shortcuts.
Or even often, like we said, you can, when you save an activity to your folder or whatever, and you want to edit it to better meet your needs, that's something that I found that I did a lot, where I felt like maybe the directions could have been a little bit clearer. And so then I would redo the directions using some of these icons so the students could quickly glance and better understand what tool to click on to do the activity.
Mm-hmm. So like for like the add response, you do :add : in your direction, because they have to add their response to get into their journal. You want them to take a picture, you would do : photo : So instead of it saying photo, you know, it'll come up as the camera. So they know, oh, I got to push the camera and then I'll take a picture.
When creating and editing directions, I often just had this in a just separate tab, so I could toggle back and forth to, you know, remember what was that for that icon, or, you know, even better yet, like to have it printed off and slipped in your planning folder so you could just have it sitting next to you. That'd probably be even faster.
Mm-hmm. But I just wanted to make sure that I showed you that it was there. And you can always type in Seesaw icons, and this is just one I found actually on the Facebook page, and I liked that it was in Google, so I knew I always had it. I always have it, I should say. And that's really kind of it. That's really the basics of Seesaw. I know it's kind of a lot, and I'm sure none of you have, well, you don't really have any students yet, so that's kind of hard too, but as long as you like get your account set up, then you can take some time and go in and kind of play around with it, browse the library, find activities, just kind of familiarize yourself with the different tools and things, and really playing around with it is the best way to learn it. And then we'll go over some of the additional options and tools in the advanced session the next time. Mm-hmm. Does anyone have any questions? Anything you're wondering? How to better use it? Anything we can answer? We're kind of putting together the next more advanced and again, like, we're not pros either. So if you're wondering how to do something, we're probably wondering how to do it as well. And just really watching a video, like I'll sit at, you know, like lay in bed and just watch. I did it the other night, and I watched, like Lisa, I watched a video on how this lady put her Bitmoji classroom in Seesaw, because you posted it and I was like, oh, I wonder how you do that. Saw it on Facebook and I watched it and I was like, oh, and then I just showed her. I'm like, oh no, this is how you do it. I pulled it up and we watched it, and then you know, you learn how to do it. I don't know.
Well, and you know, even for us who have been using it for a couple of years with the Seesaw schools, there are so many additional features that we now have access to. And Seesaw is really good about listening to the teachers and getting input on what features they would like to see added. So there always seems to be that they're adding different features all the time. So there's always something new to learn with Seesaw, which is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys obviously have been doing it for a while, not as an online tool for homeschooling. So how do you do it in the classroom, like during the day? What do you guys do?
Yeah. So we we found different like I used it I had like found some rhyming activities that had different versions, and I would have during like a small group I had like I kind of had 2 students at a time because they weren't as familiar with it. And then I would just assign the activity. They would add their response, find their name, complete the activity.
On the tablets.
On the tablet, yeah. So, and that's what another teacher asked, like, oh, can you use it on the Chromebook? And you absolutely can. You know, I know, Mandy, you primarily use the iPads, but, you know, I have Chromebooks in my room too. And I know at North, like, they're sharing. And in the last session, and then last night, I heard that they approved buying a lot more Chromebooks so we can be more one-on-one. And Megan talked about how they were looking into the touch screen ones because that seems to be easier. So like the activity I showed, I clicked and dragged those photos to match the CBC word. So it would just be like cutting and gluing. And we found different things with like wit and wisdom.
Like a retelling activity when after doing the 3 Billy Goats Gruff. Found an activity where they can record themselves retelling the story while they're moving the characters around to retell that story. We found one on the little pigs as well.
Oh, that's
So that's
cool.
that.
What about whole group? Do you ever do a whole group?
I never did. No, but you could. I know like Kim was kind of asking, like, I don't know. You know what? I think there is some more preschool, like if you looked it up, but a lot of those things like kindergarten, like they're the same things, you know, like identifying, I found a cool activity with M and they watch a video about M and then they do something with it. I mean,
even just like, you know, they created this pattern block design, and then they can take the iPad or device over and take a picture of it and then record themselves explaining what their pattern block design is or how many of each shape they use. There's lots of different ways that you could use it, even at young 5s.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure one day we were doing that, like pattern blocks, and they had to like look at a picture of how they were like put together and then they made it and then we took a picture. Oh, I'd have to go back really far, so I guess I won't show that. But yeah, I mean, you know, if they built a tower and they were like, and I know you do a lot with patterns and you can say, well, what kind is it? And then like, hey, let's take a picture. Because you can always go in and on that, and if they want to record themselves, or like you could type, you know, Colton made a AV pattern out of his blocks, you know, something like that, so parents can see that as well. But I think that recording piece is super important, especially for young 5s that say like, this is the work I did and look at it.
I did a lot of that on my Facebook, but this is better because it's got all the activities.
Right. Yeah, so we kind of talked about that as well, that because that was one thing that some people liked about using about Blooms is they would just do that. Like they would take whatever pictures they were taking of their students throughout the day, then they would upload them there. But this would be more of like specific, you know, to the individual student that you would want to record in their journal, you know, because this is going to keep going with them. So how cool to see that they did this in young 5s, and then, you know, in 2nd grade, you know, they've added so much work to their portfolio.
Yeah, that's super cute.
Yeah, as well. So it just all depends on how you want to use it. I felt like some weeks, like I was doing a lot of activities in class, and then some weeks I would go without using it. So my goal is to use it more consistently, because it's just an easy thing for them to go off and do. And oftentimes I had them, you know, again, 2 at a time doing something and showing them. And then I would have some of my other friends who, you know, needed a distraction, like, oh, can I do that? Because it's on a tablet. And they're like, oh, it's on a tablet. But, you know, you get a lot of great information from it as well. And you can, I don't know. I always, if it was something I was using more of an assessment, I would type in the comments, you know, something so parents saw it and thought like, oh, she accepted this, like that's wrong, like he did something wrong, but I want them to know, like, I know that, and you can then see like, oh, he still needs some work with rhyming. So it's a great way for you to communicate with parents without, you know, having to sit down at a conference and say like, oh, they're still struggling with rhyming. They can directly see, you know, what they're doing. And oftentimes, you know, in our grades is that, you know, they're doing so many different things in class that they might not necessarily take home. So this is a great way for parents to really see what they're doing throughout the day.
And then you do assign homework with this too?
Well, Seesaw didn't have that, but that would be the home learning now. Now they added that piece once everyone kind of went online. And obviously a lot of schools are still doing online, you know, distance learning. So I guess I can go back to that paper. So like that would be the code, this code you send home.
So that's where families, if they're doing it at home, they would have to have the class app at home, but their login is different from that of the login of being in the classroom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
and I don't see that feature going away. It's a feature that several teachers, including myself, have asked for a while, of having a home piece. Even before this whole distance learning thing was forced upon everybody. So I think that that's something that will definitely be sticking around.
Yeah. So I guess it would depend on if you wanted to start, you know, assigning things for them to do at home. I don't know. I feel like right now there's just so much going on that, you know, the fact that they'll even look at in their folder is, you know, one thing, but I don't know, maybe that could be something that, you know, we get into. I don't know. I feel like it's one more thing to do, but.
I just wondered, I wouldn't assign homework, but I just wondered.
Yeah, but there's a lot of like we did an activity where during open house where they had to like take a family selfie. So there's a lot of like social emotional things out, like activities, like you could send like, hey, tell me a joke, you know, it's just like simple, you know, that kind of stuff. Like,
yeah, like my daughter during this distance learning, every day, one of her assignments was to click on the, I forget what it was titled, but basically it had the characters from Inside Out and they were tied to an emotion, and she had to circle which one she was feeling that day and then type or record why she selected that one. So just something quick and easy, but that, you know, checks in with the student and how they're doing that day. And you could even do that sort of thing in the class too.
Right. Wow, that's cool. Lot of
Yeah.
stuff.
So we were just asking the last group that once you start kind of playing with Seesaw and see what kind of activities there are, if you want to send either one of us or both of us, whatever, a message of just like, hey, could you go through how to do this? Hey, is this something that can be done, or, you know, whatever, then that way we can kind of tailor our next session, just because we just want to help support you. And, you know, again, I'll say this again, because if you're wondering how to do something, we're probably wondering how to do it, some of the more advanced things. But like I said, one of the things someone asked, which I was like, oh, I should learn how to do that myself, is how to enter like those reading A to Z books, right? That's one thing we just talked about in our meeting yesterday, is like, how are we going to use our classroom libraries, or how are we going to send books home in a safe way? Well, we already have access to those reading A to Z books. There's a way, I'll go through it with it because it's kind of a lot of steps, but I literally watched a video and then I had the video and then I did it myself. And I can go through those because it is a lot of steps, but you can enter the book right through Seesaw. You know, if I know Lisa needs a level A, but Mandy's on a B, I have A ready, a B ready. I can assign it to her. I can assign it to her. They read it, I listen to it, and I can give a comment back super easily. And it's I thought about this when we were talking about sending books home and if I really wanted to do that. But we never get to hear them read when they're at home. So how cool to be able to send a book, you know, to them. And then I get to listen to them read it at home. So that accountability piece is kind of more put in place. So I know Lisa is reading, you know, Baby Animals, I think is one of them, you know, so I kind of, that home and school piece is a little more intact, especially with all the circumstances that we are going to be facing in the fall. So I know that was one thing that a couple other teachers had asked, like, oh, is there a way to do that? And there is.
And that's another piece, that having the schools account and having that school library, you know, because that activity of uploading A to Z book is kind of time consuming. You know, between you and your grade level, you could divvy up some books or whatever and then share those into the library so that not everybody is building the same activity around the same book. Mm-hmm. You know, or taking the one activity that's shared in there and then editing it so that half of it's already in there as far as the directions on how to access the book, but then you just change the link of the book or things like that. So working smarter.
Yeah, definitely.
There's not a copyright infringement on doing. I'm just thinking.
No, because you're linking it, and so they're still getting credit.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a public link, so that I think that if there was like a public link, who would buy it? Reading
No.
ABC. No.
I haven't seen anything like that. Yeah, because I mean, we have to pay for the subscription. Is that what you mean? Like those books? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And basically all you do is download it just like you would if I was going to print it off for them in person. Yeah. I know that Nicole's daughter, that's what they used in the spring to still send books home. So, yeah. Anyone else wondering anything that we can answer now?
Nope, just need to do some exploring.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah. Yeah, like Mandy, there's so many, like I know you do a lot of different cool themes and you can just, you know, I know like you do the forest, like you could look up forest and I'm sure a ton of stuff comes up.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Sure that once you get exploring, you'll figure it out, and I think you'll like it. It's super easy to use.
It really is. It seems really overwhelming, but it's really simpler than what it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right down the hall, so I'll just come and grab you.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that it's just easier for our age students to use as well. And what I really love about, especially once we started using it at home, is just being able to differentiate so easily. Like, you know, I still had students struggling with CBC words when we had to go, you know, to the distance learning. And then I had students who were beyond and ready. And I was just able to assign them those things and keep him going on where he needed to be. So that's why I really like it. I mean, one of the reasons I like it, I should say. So, but if anyone thinks of anything, just shoot us an email. I'll send out the presentation and the link that you have to fill out to get credit for your sketchies.
And then that link that kind of gives the pros and cons about whether doing co-teachers or having individual classes. So you can make a decision on what's best for you and team.
Yeah, I think that'll take some more like if school, like how the school wants, you know, yeah, how maybe your team, maybe by grade level, some want it this way, some want it that way. I don't know. That's last on, lower on the list, I'm sure, of everyone's thoughts, but it's still a good, important thought that we need to think about. And then, yeah, just let us know if you have any questions. If you want to know how to do something again, I would, if I'm sure we're all on Facebook now, but really adding to the group. So like Jen, I know you teach like second grade, so you can just type in that, and then there are so many second grade teachers that have shared their activities. And what's nice is that you can just save it right from there. They share the link. You just push save activity and it goes right to your,
Seesaw.
yeah,
library.
right to your Seesaw library. If you have it on your phone, I should say.
Right, you have to have the Seesaw app and stuff already on your phone, and then it'll just pull it right up. And likewise, if you're on a computer, it'll just click on the link that they share in the Facebook group, and then it will go right to your Seesaw, open it up.
Cool.
All right. Well, again, let us know if you want to know how to do something else, and we'll figure it out if we don't already know how to. And I'll send all that stuff right now. I know we didn't take up the whole 2 hours, but you do get credit for that.
Oh, darn.
Our first group asked so many questions that took the whole time, but this is a smaller group. So I think it's just easier once you kind of get into it and you kind of look at everything. It's super easy. And again, like you don't have to really add students yet or family. So that's kind of, you kind of get to skip that part, but just you'll have a sample student. So if you want to practice assigning an activity to your sample student, then you already know how to do that. That's something easy you could do now. And you have an unlimited amount of storage to save as many activities as you want. Before we had the free version, it was like 100, and I had to keep going through and deleting things because I ran out of room. But once you find a person that you like a lot, you can always click on their name and find the activity again. Like some different ones, like Mandy that I found, they had to circle, you know, all the A's or match the A's. So I would just save the A knowing, oh, I liked that letter activity, and then I deleted the rest. But now you have so much space, save all the things that you want. And then, yeah, if anyone plays around with anything and wants to share on our site together, then we all have access to that as well. So let us know if you have any problems too, like getting into your account, if you need any help with that, because we're both administrators now, so we can maybe get to it a little quicker than some other people. I know, fancy. But all right, well, if no one else has any questions, let us know. We're here, and I guess we'll see you all next time.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Very much.
All right, bye.
Bye.